and welcome to the second season of Out of Bounds with Marion. And I'm so privileged to be joined by the former Cricket Cranes pace bowler and of course the current selector of Team Uganda. He is Richard Okia. Well, we're going to be talking about the RCA Emerging Invitational Tournament that just ended in Rwanda. We are currently in Kigali at the Gahanga Cricket Oval, and we're going to bring to you all that happened, but in relation to Uganda did. Okay, good to have you.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Let's get straight to whatever transpired here at the Gahanga Oval. Obviously, 6 wins out of 7. Uganda eventually won the trophy. But as a team manager, how does this success make you feel?
I think, of course, as a manager, I'm proud of the boys. It's been a process to get this team to come to Rwanda, and for the performance they've had. I mean, winning 6 out of 7 games is something commendable. So as a team, we are happy and proud of the way we played. The new players that showed face and stood up. We are so happy that we could win this championship. Yeah.
Obviously, Uganda was a blend of old, not really old. Okay, let me call them senior players, the likes of Sebanja, Jonathan Sebanja, obviously Roger Mukasa, then Simon Tesaz. Then of course you have having there the likes of Baguma, of course Cyrus. But when you look at individual performances, do you think each player made a case for themselves?
Yes, absolutely. I think all the players that came today, in one way or another, that came to Rwanda in one way or another, made a case and they really performed. If you look at the bowlers like Ivan Baidu, he had been away for some time, but we said let's bring him back. He's a good seamer and a person to watch out for, and to add on to our pace attack. I mean, he did very well, winning probably 3 man of match awards. Everyone actually came in. Simon, as the tournament progressed, we could see that he was picking his old form, and Roger as well. They've actually picked up. So every player has proved in one way or another during 1 game or 2 games. So we are happy that we are having such a performance, and we look forward to having more games for the Uganda A team. Yes.
Obviously, we brought not we, but you see, brought a combination of young players, like I mentioned, and then of course the senior players. But the talk of this tournament should have been about strictly the upcoming under 19 or the young guys. What does that make you feel? First of all, as a selector of Team Uganda, and then of course as the team manager of this particular team.
Yes, I think the concept of Uganda A does not mean that we select players who are under 19 and who are very young. It is basically a second team that feeds into the senior team. So it is not about age really. It is about the player who can represent the senior team. It's basically giving a platform for players who lost form, trying to regain form, and also for the new players who are knocking at the door for the senior team. And to have people like Simon who were a bit trying to get some form back, and Roger, this was a platform for them to play international cricket and get their mindset. And you can see at the end of the tournament, the results are showing. See, Sebanja has also come in and picked a good number. We have bowled very well in this tournament. Roger has led the team as captain, and Simon. And also having those 3 players, Roger, Simon and Sebanja, was also intentional, because the emerging players need a guide. They need guides. Sebanja has worked a lot with the Baidu, because they are both left-handers, and has been giving him advice on what to do, since Sebanja is a more senior player. Simon has been playing with other batsmen, Little Tires, who is also a left-hander. So it was intentional to also bring them to guide these players. Roger, as the captain, of course, has been a mentor to all these players. So it was part of the plan to have them coming in as mentorship for these players. But the rest of the players, I think, I would say about 23 average age, apart from those 3. So it is quite a young side.
Well, I noticed you've mentioned the likes of Roger, the likes of Baidu, obviously, and Simon there. But if you look at like the entire team, which Ugandan player really impressed from this particular tournament?
I think, in my view, well, generally all of them impressed. But the outstanding players are Siraj did very well, bowled very well. Baguma did very well, got some good variations in. Baidu came in and actually played very well. Kakuru was outstanding with the keeping. The youngsters like Kidega, who is under 19, and Musa Majid. Musa Majid got a man of match performance. And they are intentional. We also brought those under 19s. They are the senior under 19s of the current team, and they will be having a qualifier next year. So we thought they should come and get a feel of how the competition is. And we saw them playing well. Kidega getting some runs one of the days. Musa Majid bowling at least a couple of games. Now we have the people like Anas, who has just left the under 19 national team. But the process of being part of this group gives them the international feeling of how the national team environment is.
Obviously you've talked about Roger Mukasa and then of course Simon Tesazi, some of the cricket film players, but as you know, they were left out of the challenge leg team that recently ended in Uganda. But if you have to analyze their performance in this tournament, do you think they've used the tournament to redeem themselves?
Yes, absolutely. If you see the way they batted today at the end of the tournament, I think it shows that the process is ongoing. It won't stop on the finals. So when we started, there was a bit of struggles here and there, but as we end, you can see how they batted. Look at how Simon batted today.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That is the Simon we know. And form is everyone can go out of form. But to get into form, it can just take 5 games to get your mind back into the winning ways.
Yeah.
And you can see he played the first game. By the seventh game, he's playing now the real Simon. You saw the kind of shots that he played. He's the real Simon. The Roger is the real Roger that we expect.
Yeah.
So it has to be a couple of games. It didn't happen overnight. It happens as a process. First game, 7th game, you can see a difference of how they are playing. And I'm certain going forward, you're going to see the guys back to how we know them.
Yeah, well, we heard that he's back into the cricket Cranes team that will be here sometime next week. But going forward, obviously, Uganda seem to struggle against Rwanda, especially. Not even Zim Emerging. And eventually, they got beaten by Rwanda A. Does this mean that Rwanda has finally closed the gap between themselves and Uganda?
No, of course it doesn't mean that. I mean, in a tournament, it can be a bad day for anyone. Anywhere in the world, you can lose to any team. But the fact that we've won 6 games out of 7 is enough to speak. We can't base the tournament on 1 game.
Yeah.
No, we base it on a series of games.
Yeah.
Having one bad day can happen to anyone. It has happened before to several teams. But it doesn't mean that you are not a good team. It may be a lapse in concentration or relaxation because of the opposition. That could have happened yesterday. But the way I saw them today was a different team. And the way I saw them in all the other games, it's a different team. Yeah.
Finally, but not least, I had from the corridors that you have tried to forge a relationship between Uganda and then of course the Zim Emerging Academy. How far is the progress? And there's talk of them coming to Uganda. Let us know how far that is.
No, the reality is in tournaments, whenever we come for tournaments, it is important to build rapport with any team.
Yeah.
Because we've discussed, with the Zim cricket, even Rwanda, we've discussed to see, it is a process that we shall conclude later. But initially, we just had discussions of how do you feel us playing this kind of tournament over a longer period. Not just with end in Rwanda, but next year we want to look forward to having such emerging tournaments. Maybe in Uganda, maybe invite other countries. So it is a general thing that we've discussed with Rwanda and both Zim cricket to see what can happen. But there is nothing concrete yet. It was just initiation, discussion with the coaches and the management team, because they are also impressed with the way Uganda has played this tournament. Opposition for them to also build their emerging team.
Okay.
So there is nothing concrete, but initial discussions with the coaches. So hopefully there will be something good for the Uganda A and also the under 19 to get maybe another emerging team, maybe Uganda B. All those are the processes that the projects that we are running. We want to have a good pathway or feeder system for the national team.
Yeah.
We can have 4 teams leading up to the senior team.
Yeah.
There will be a pathway and give players hope that they can actually play for Uganda.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'll personally be very happy if that comes true, because I've spoken to the Zimbabwe manager, then of course the coach, and it seems like it will be a very good project. But the very final question is, Uganda came here as the favorites, to win the trophy, which they've done. But if any, has Uganda learnt any lesson from this tournament, if any?
Yeah, absolutely. Every tournament you go to, you have to learn lessons. I mean, as players and as a team, we've learned lessons. For example, yesterday's loss was a lesson that we should never relax, regardless of the opposition. I'm sure individually as the players, they have also learned, they have picked up a few aspects, because they've been facing different opposition, different bowlers, bowling different batters. They had to learn to adjust to the game situation. So I would say we've all learned it, even as management, looking at how the other teams have played, how they maybe warm up, how they feel. We have picked up a few things that we shall go and work with the players back at home.